All right, everybody, welcome back. You guys wanted it. We're delivering it. Today, we're diving deep into the world of Marvel versus DC.
A classic showdown. Really a clash of the titans,
It's a big one for sure. I mean,
Yeah.
these two comic book giants have been battling it out for decades on the pages, on the big screen, and, well, everywhere you look these days.
Absolutely. And for this deep dive, we're turning to a podcast called Versus. They really get into the nuts and bolts of this rivalry. So we're talking origins, iconic characters, cinematic universes, the whole shebang.
We'll see if we can settle some debates along the way.
Oh, we'll definitely try.
Yeah.
But, it's not really about crowning a champion.
It's more about appreciating what each universe brings to the table.
Right, exactly. So let's start at the beginning, shall we?
Let's rewind that clock.
Okay, so DC, they were the first out the gate, right back in the 1930s and 40s.
Golden Age of Comics.
Yeah, exactly. That's when they gave us the big three: Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman.
The Holy Trinity.
Boom. It wasn't just about creating characters. It was about establishing a whole new mythology.
I mean, think about it. The cape, the secret identity, the fight for truth and justice. They laid down the blueprint for the entire superhero genre.
The archetype, the foundation, it all started there.
But then Marvel came along in the 1960s, and they kind of flipped the script.
They did. They shook things up a little bit. A bit. Yeah.
Yeah, they introduced heroes like Spider-Man, the X-Men, the Fantastic Four.
These were these perfect godlike beings.
They were flawed, they were relatable.
Yeah.
They had everyday problems,
Yep.
just like us.
It's like DC gave us the gods and Marvel gave us the underdogs.
Right, like these heroes who are just trying to make it work.
Exactly. And that's what makes it so interesting. You have DC's heroes, these aspirational figures representing these timeless ideals.
Like Superman.
Right, Superman, his unwavering hope. That's not just about punchy bad guys. It's about being a beacon in a world that often feels hopeless.
It's that belief in humanity that makes him so compelling.
And then you have Marvel's characters who are dealing with the same anxieties and insecurities that we all face.
Like Peter Parker trying to balance school and a social life and, oh yeah, saving the city as Spider-Man.
Talk about a stressful day.
Right. It's that relatability that makes them so appealing. We see ourselves in their struggles, their triumphs, their failures.
And speaking of failures, let's talk about the cinematic universes.
Ooh, DC's had some ups and downs on the big screen, haven't they?
They have. I mean, you can't deny their early success. Superman in '78, Tim Burton's Batman, those were huge.
Classics.
But then the DCEU, it's been a bit of a roller coaster, right?
It has, yeah. Some hits, some misses.
Wonder Woman was a major win.
Huge.
But then Justice League, it faced some challenges.
To say the least.
And now it seems like they're shifting gears, focusing more on standalone films like Joker and the Batman.
Which have been pretty well received.
They have, and you gotta wonder if it's a response to the massive success of the MCU.
The MCU. It's a phenomenon. It really is.
It is. They took this huge gamble with their interconnected storytelling, building this massive narrative over a decade.
Yeah.
And it paid off big time.
Avengers. Endgame. That was a cultural event.
It was more than just a movie. It was like being part of this shared experience.
Like they created this whole world that we get to step into.
And Versus Cameras makes a really interesting point about this.
Oh, yeah.
Has that intricate, planned-out approach come at the expense of individual films?
That's a good question.
Yeah, something to think about.
But one thing's for sure. Both Marvel and DC, they've left their mark on cinema.
Without a doubt, they've shaped how superhero stories are told, and they're not slowing down anytime soon.
No, they're not.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we've covered the heroes.
Yeah.
But what about the villains?
The villains.
Some of the most iconic baddies in pop culture history come from these two universes.
Right.
DC has some all-timers.
They do.
The Joker, Lex Luthor, Darkseid. They're forces of nature.
But Versailles raises a good point about them, too.
Oh.
Are they too one-dimensional sometimes?
Interesting.
The Joker, he's always Chaos Lex. He's always jealous of Superman.
Right.
Do they ever evolve? Do they ever surprise us?
That's a good point.
It makes you appreciate Marvel's villains a bit more, like Loki and Thanos.
They're complex. They have motivations. You can almost understand them.
Right. Thanos wiping out half the universe. He wasn't just power-hungry. He genuinely believed it was the only way to save it.
Twisted, but it made him a more compelling villain.
Exactly. You could argue that.
Okay. That's a lot to digest. We've covered a lot of ground already.
We have, from their origins in comics to their dominance on the big screen.
But we're just getting started.
Oh, yeah. There's so much more to explore.
Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Okay, so we've talked comics, we've talked movies. But these universes, They go way beyond that.
Oh, yeah. They're everywhere. TV shows, animation, video games, I mean, you name it.
It's a full-on multimedia extravaganza.
It really is.
Yeah.
But let's focus on TV for a minute.
Right.
Marvel in particular. I mean, they've been killing it with their shows.
They really have. Those early Netflix series like Daredevil and Jessica Jones, they brought this gritty realism to the superhero genre.
Yeah. There's like a whole new side to these characters.
And then you have the Disney Plus shows, WandaVision, Loki, Falcon and the Winter Soldier,
Hot.
each one pushing the boundaries of storytelling in different ways.
WandaVision, I mean, that show blew my mind. The way they played with those sitcom tropes
Yeah.
to explore grief and trauma, it was brilliant.
Yeah, really innovative.
And then Loki, talk about multiverse madness.
Oh, yeah. They really opened up that Pandora's box.
Infinite alternate realities. The possibilities are endless.
And speaking of alternate realities, we can't forget about animation.
Spider-Man, Into the Spider-Verse.
A game changer.
Absolutely stunning animation. Incredible story. And it introduced the concept of multiple spider people from different dimensions.
It blew everyone away.
Won an Oscar. I mean, deservedly so.
Absolutely. But DC, they have their own legacy in animation, too.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Batman, the animated series, I mean, that's still considered one of the gold standards.
A classic, dark, sophisticated.
It showed that animation could be just as complex and compelling as live action.
And then you have Justice League Unlimited, bringing together this huge roster of DC heroes.
Epic battles, world-saving adventures. It was everything you could want from a superhero cartoon.
But it's interesting, though.
Yeah, what's that?
DC's approach to TV, it's been a bit more fragmented compared to Marvel.
Yeah, that's true.
The Arrowverse, it had its moments, it was popular, but it never quite reached that same level of cultural impact as the MCU.
And with some of those shows ending recently, it feels like DC's at a bit of a crossroads with their TV strategy.
They are. So what does the future hold for these universes?
That's the big question, isn't it?
It is. Marvel seems to be all in on the multiverse.
Oh, yeah. Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. Avengers. Secret Wars. They're not holding back.
It's risky, but the potential is huge.
Imagine the crossovers, the team-ups, the new characters.
The possibilities are mind-boggling.
But what about DC?
Right. What are they up to?
Well, they've got James Gunn at the helm now, and he's promising a more cohesive and interconnected cinematic universe.
Films, TV shows, animation, all
Yeah.
tied together.
Exactly. They're trying to create a unified DC universe.
It sounds like they're learning from both Marvel's successes and their own past missteps.
And they've got some exciting projects in the works. Superman, Legacy, a new Batman trilogy, maybe?
And they're still exploring those standalone films, too. Like the Batman Part 2 and the Joker sequel.
It's like they're trying to find that sweet spot between interconnected storytelling and those more character-driven narratives.
Right, like finding a balance.
Exactly. And that's what makes this rivalry so fascinating. It's not just about who's better. It's about how they push each other to evolve and innovate.
A constant game of one-upmanship.
Exactly. And we as fans get to reap the rewards.
We get these amazing stories, epic battles, iconic characters brought to life in new and exciting ways.
We're living in a golden age of superhero entertainment.
We really are.
Yeah.
And it's only going to get bigger and better from here.
Wow. It's amazing to think about how far these two universes have come.
It really is. From those humble beginnings in the pages of comic books.
Look at these massive multimedia empires. And it's all thanks to the power of stories.
That's what it all boils down to, doesn't it?
It does. These stories, they tap into something deep within us.
They explore these universal themes of hope and fear, good versus evil.
They give us these larger-than-life characters that we can connect with.
But at the same time, they ground them in relatable human experiences,
It's like they're holding up a mirror to ourselves
showing us the best and worst of humanity.
and challenging us to think about what it means to be a hero.
And what's so interesting is that Marvel and DC, they approach these themes in different ways.
Right. Marvel often focuses on the underdog, the flawed hero who overcomes adversity.
Like Spider-Man,
Exactly. He's just a kid trying to do the right thing, even when it's hard.
even when it costs them everything.
And then you have DC, they tend to lean more towards the mythic, the archetypal hero.
Like Superman.
Right, the ultimate symbol of hope, the unwavering belief in humanity's potential.
And it's this difference in approach that keeps things so interesting.
It's not about choosing a side. It's about appreciating the unique perspectives that each universe offers.
It's like they're having this ongoing conversation with each other.
Each one pushing the boundaries of storytelling, challenging the other to be better.
And we, the fans, We get to be a part of it.
We get to experience these epic battles, these incredible stories.
These iconic characters brought to life in new and exciting ways.
It's a pretty great time to be a fan, don't you think?
I think so. I really do. And I think it's safe to say that both Marvel and DC, they've left an indelible mark on pop culture.
They've shaped how we think about heroes, villains, and the power of stories.
And they'll continue to do so for generations to come.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, I want to leave you with this thought. What resonates most with you? Which universe speaks to your heart?
Which hero's journey inspires you?
Because ultimately, it's not about choosing a side. It's about finding the stories that connect with you on a personal level.
The stories that make you think, that make you feel, that make you believe in the power of something greater than yourself.
So keep exploring, keep questioning, keep diving deeper into the worlds of Marvel and DC.
Because within these fantastical universes lie profound truths about ourselves and the world we inhabit.
Well said.
That's it for our deep dive into the epic showdown of Marvel versus DC.
Thanks for joining us.
And remember, the battle may rage on, but the power of stories unites us all.